Not only was she co-starring with one of the greats of the screen, Ronald Colman, but she also received a bunch of white lilacs one day in her dressing room and an invitation to visit his bungalow for tea. Russell accepted, of course, but she was very shy since she was still in awe of Colman. Well, several days later, when they filmed their first love scene together, Russell was to enter the scene riding on a horse, and Ronald Colman takes her down, and they kiss in a very romantic setting. Well, they did the scene, and Ronald Colman kissed Russell slightly off-center, and she tried to move in to catch him on the square, but he never really caught her full on the lips. Well, through subsequent takes, Rosalind kept trying to anticipate his move and counter with one of her own. You know, it's like almost bumping into somebody on the street and you're both going the same way. Well, when the director called for a break, Russell rushed back to a dressing room and she doused herself with perfume and dumped about a pint of Listerine. When filming resumed, Colman still avoided the contact and she couldn't figure out why. The director decided enough of this, and he'd go on to something else and come back to the kiss the next day. But Russell didn't know that they were filming a group of camels now and not her. So she grabbed Colman, and this time she got him square in the lips. When she found out later that the cameras weren't even aimed at her, she was very embarrassed indeed. She felt even worse when she found out that off-center kisses are a standard practice for certain kinds of shots in the movie business. She said that Colman was very nice about the whole thing, but never again invited her to his bungalow for tea. Here are Ronald Colman, Rosalind Russell, and Claudette Colbert in Under Two Flags. And you thought you gave up cigarettes, huh? This version of Under Two Flags was the first time Cigarette gave her life for Sergeant Victor. The story had quite a history, actually, having been published in the United States in 1867 and becoming a stage play 3 years later. It was a natural for the silence, and Cigarette was brought back to life several times thereafter. Biograph did it as a three-reeler in 1915, and a year later, Theda Bara did a remake. Universal did their own silent version in 1922, and Hal Roach produced a parody that was for Pathé in 1923, a one-reel comedy called Under Two Jags. The talking version that you saw today was released in 1936 and was an instant success. And it's no wonder they had Frank Lloyd to direct, who had just scored really big with Mutiny on the Bounty, and Ronald Colman, of course, was still basking in the glow of one of his biggest successes, A Tale of Two Cities. Victor McLaglen had won an Oscar the previous year, and Claudette Colbert, of course, won the year before that. So they had quite a group there, a lot of talent. We'll be right back, but first let's look at this.